In the previous video, we talked about the overview of the legal reasoning section. I promised you that in the next video, I will talk about the structure of the passage, and we looked into some of the differences between old pattern and the new pattern of legal reasoning in CLAT. So hello everyone, this is Ritik Sinha from AcetheCLAT, and in this video, I would be talking about the types of passages. Okay, so I have identified three types of passages, type 1, 2 and 3. In type 3, we can still divide them into 3.1, 2 and 3, which means we can divide them into three subsections. Type 1 may we will look into the passages that are author's opinion centric. In type 2, we'll look into the passages that are based on the application of the author's opinion, and in type 3 we will look at our classic case based or principle based passages and questions upon them. Okay, so in the first type, as written, it is author's opinion centric, which means जो author ने जो question setter है वो न्यूज़पेपर्स के एडिटोरियल पेज सेक्शन से या ओपिनियन सेक्शन से एक ऐसा पैसेज उठाता है जिसमें ऑथर ने एक लीगल इवेंट पे अपनी राय यानी अपनी ओपिनियन रखी हो. ओके, एंड इन दीज टाइप्स ऑफ पैसेजेस ऑथर्स व्यू आर गिवन प्राइमरी इम्पोर्टेंस. जैसे होता है ना कि ये एक पर्टिकुलर इंसिडेंट हुआ एंड उस पर ऑथर ने अपनी ओपिनियन रखी वाया न्यूज़पेपर इन द रिटन फॉर्मेट. राइट, सो ऑथर एक लीगल इवेंट पे जो ओपिनियन दे एंड उसे अगर क्वेश्चन सेटर उठा के लीगल रीजनिंग के पैसेज में डालें, उसे हम बोलेंगे ऑथर्स ओपिनियन सेंट्रिक लीगल रीजनिंग पैसेजेस. दीज आर नॉट ऑफिशियल टर्म्स. मैं इस वीडियो में तुम्हारे आसानी के लिए फॉर योर कन्वीनियंस आई एम टेलिंग यू अबाउट दिस. ओके, द सोर्सेज. सो द सोर्सेज ऑफ दीज पैसेजेस आर फ्रॉम एडिटोरियल्स और ओपिनियन सेक्शन, from the newspaper, or it can be from some magazine as well. Okay, and you can rightly treat these passages as reading comprehension or even sometimes critical reasoning passages. Okay, so basically author ने जो opinion रखी है, क्वेश्चन सेटर तुम्हें वही पूछ रहा है कि ऑथर ने क्या ओपिनियन दिया है इस लीगल इवेंट पे. ब्रॉडली 5 में से you will find 3 such questions or 4 such questions. Okay, let us look at one such example. So this is an author's opinion centric passage. This passage has been taken from the sample questions, the first document of questions that was released by the consortium in January 2020, in which they posted 2 passages of each section in that document, and this passage is one of those 2 passages posted in the legal reasoning section. So as you can see, the source is Unfulfilled Promise on Personal Data Protection Bill, and this is an editorial which was present in the newspaper of The Hindu on December 16, 2019. So question setter ने author के इस opinion को, जो कि है Personal Data Protection Bill के बारे में, he has derived that passages with edits and revisions, and then he has made such questions. The first question says, which among the following views can be correctly attributed to the author of the above passage? Sounds familiar, right? ये एक reading comprehension या sometimes critical reasoning passage भी हो सकता है, right? The aim of this video is not to solve these passages but to let you know what kind of passages are present in your legal reasoning section. So question 1 देखा तुमने. Similarly, question 2 देखो. It says, according to the passage, the committee headed by Justice B.N. Sri Krishna, who was the chairman of that committee on Personal Data Protection Bill, what did he call for? And the answer is directly written in the passage. Okay, and the third question is an application based question, in which the question setter says, suppose the bill provides a test of proportionality in respect of privacy, which is this is the test, and here is a condition or a situation. If a journalist is known for her reporting on corruption in government agencies and the government chooses to engage a surveillance company to collect messages exchanged by her means the journalist, on WhatsApp in order to intimidate her, so government उन्हें डराना चाहता है, does it meet the test of proportionality? Right, by common sense the answer should be no, and ये दोनों में से कोई एक होना चाहिए. Reasons पढ़ देते हैं. The government should have taken measures such as imprisoning the journalist. मतलब और भी कुछ कर दो, ये ऑप्शन तो नहीं होना चाहिए. The answer should be this. Okay. Similarly, look at question 4, which says the author is concerned about the constitution of the DPA under the bill because, so DPA is I think Data Protection Authority, and author उसे क्यों constitute होते हुए देखना चाहता है. And simply तुम्हें एक specific detail question लिखा गया है यहाँ पे, right? Give me the reason the question setter is asking, so you should select that reason. Similarly, in question number 1.5, in the fifth question, it says the bill is amended and the government's powers to provide exemptions for its agencies are removed. In such a situation, according to the author, मतलब ये यहाँ पे एक sort of author का reaction पूछा है on one such tweak in the government's power, right? So I hope you are getting what I am trying to say, that in an author's opinion-centric passage, the author's views are given primary importance, and you can rightly treat those passages as reading comprehension passages. I hope you are with me on this. Type 2. In this slide, I am talking about the application of opinion of the author on one such particular legal event, especially since we are talking about legal reasoning. Okay, so इस तरह के भी पैसेज होते. See, ये तुम्हारा more or less reading comprehension centric हो गया, not absolutely, because कुछ questions application के भी थे जो critical reasoning में होते हैं, and ये तुम्हारा author's opinion का जो application है वो critical reasoning centric हो गया. The sources would still be editorials and opinions, and you should treat the opinion of the author as principles, because इसमें क्या होगा, एक similar source से question setter ने question passage उठाया, author ने उसमें अपना एक opinion दिया है, and you have to treat those opinions as principles, because जो questions होंगे वो normally एक case होगा, जैसे कि इसमें था ना journalist वाला, right? वो 3 या 4 वैसे होंगे, एंड उस पर क्वेश्चन सेटर तुम्हें पुट फोर्थ करेगा क्वेश्चन कि ये बताओ कि ऑथर का ओपिनियन क्या होगा, या ऑथर के हिसाब से यहाँ पे क्या होना चाहिए. आई होप यू आर विथ मी. लेट अस लुक एट वन सच एग्जाम्पल जो कि इसी के नीचे है. टाइप 2, एप्लीकेशन ऑफ ऑथर्स प्रिंसिपल्स और ओपिनियंस. ओके, दिस हैज़ बीन टेकन फ्रॉम one of the sample papers. I do not remember which one. It says welcome move to ease starting up pains, and this is an editorial by the Economic Times. Okay, so इसके भी sources ज़्यादातर तुम्हें editorial होंगे, वो newspaper का भी हो सकता है, magazine का भी हो सकता है, does not matter. Let's read the passage. Since this is a short one, at least let us read it cursorily. The proposal to further simplify the regulatory regime for startups is most welcome. यहाँ पे ही मेन बात है, राइट, कि जो ऑथर जो है ही इज़ इन फेवर ऑफ सिंप्लीफाइंग द रेगुलेटरी रिजीम फॉर स्टार्टअप्स. क्यों? कॉमन सेंस के हिसाब से टू ईज द एस्टैब्लिशमेंट ऑफ स्टार्टअप्स, राइट. इन पर्टिकुलर ये एक स्पेसिफिक बात कर रहा है. द प्रॉमिस टू क्रिएट अ टैक्स कंप्लायंस रिजीम दैट वुड परमिट अ स्टार्टअप टू नॉट स्पेंड मोर देन एन आवर अ मंथ ऑन टैक्स मैटर्स sounds most appealing. India has a considerably large startup ecosystem, and ensuring that the regulatory regime is conducive to innovation and setting up new businesses is essential for economic growth. The government has already put in place self-certification and other measures to ease compliance. So basically, author ये बोल रहा है कि गवर्नमेंट ने क्या क्या measures लिए हैं and क्या क्या measures लेने चाहिए. ओके, अ सिंपलर रिजीम, मतलब यहाँ पे मैंने एक एडिटोरियल वाले में बात की थी कि सेकंड या फिर जो लास्ट पैसेज होता है या पैराग्राफ होता है, जो लास्ट पैराग्राफ होता है उसमें ऑथर जनरली एक नया काउंटर आर्ग्यूमेंट प्रेजेंट करने की सोचता है, या फिर ही ट्राइज टू पुट फोर्थ सम सजेशंस. यहाँ पे सजेशन है कि अ सिंपलर regime must not become synonymous with a lax regime. Lax मतलब lazy टाइप का, राइट, inefficient, nor with the dilution of labor protection, security and safety and environmental norms. The author is saying that a simpler regime should not be equated with a lax regime that is diluted with labor protection and security and safety and environmental norms. मतलब environmental norms, safety and security, labor protection laws, ये सब का भी ध्यान रखा जाना चाहिए. At the simultaneously एक simpler regime भी होनी चाहिए, right? It must ensure another suggestion, right? And this will mean, मतलब उस suggestion का क्या मतलब होगा, which means he's strengthening his argument over there. And lastly he says that access to stable power supply calls for ending the ills of the power sector, easier starting up calls for systemic reform for everyone. Okay, ये था article और passage. And see, ये question देखो, the government proposes a new law that would require startups to prepare daily reports. ऑथर ने क्या बोला है कि कम मंथ में एक बार 1 घंटे से ज़्यादा नहीं स्पेंड करना पड़े, राइट, स्टार्टअप्स को. सो आई थिंक दिस वुड द ऑथर बी इन सपोर्ट ऑफ सच अ लॉ. आंसर होना चाहिए नो, राइट, या इवन द आंसर इज़ नो, since the new law would increase the time spent on regulatory compliance. So this is a kind of critical reasoning passage, right? कि author के जो opinions हैं in the passage, you are trying to apply them in the questions. Similarly ये दूसरा क्वेश्चन भी कि एक नया लॉ पास हुआ है, उसमें पूछेगा कि would such a law be valid in light of the author's statements. That is why I am saying कि जो author के statements हैं या फिर opinion है, you need to treat them as principles, right? इसमें तुम क्या कर सकते थे, that you could have highlighted or annotated on your paper कि simplifying the regulatory regime for startups is necessary and a simpler regime should not. I have read it cursorily, लेकिन हमें इतना तो समझ में आ रहा है कि a simpler regime must not become synonymous with a lax regime. It must ensure ये right. So in statements को you could have treated as principles and उसके हिसाब से you should be marking your answers, right? Questions यही पूछ रहा है, as we have seen कि एक कंडीशन और एक सिचुएशन दे दिया एंड उस पर ऑथर का रिएक्शन पूछ रहा है, राइट. थर्ड क्वेश्चन भी देखो, इज़ द ऑथर लाइकली टू सपोर्ट सच अ लॉ. फोर्थ क्वेश्चन, बेस्ड ऑन द इंफॉर्मेशन आर्ग्यूमेंट्स इन द पैसेज वुड कबीर्स चैलेंज सक्सीड. कबीर है एंड ये एक अलग तरह का क्वेश्चन नहीं हुआ, लेकिन एक अलग तरीके से फ्रेम किया गया क्वेश्चन हुआ, राइट. एंड लास्ट क्वेश्चन देखो, मैंने इसलिए बोला था कि दे आर नॉट एब्सोल्युटली क्रिटिकल रीजनिंग सेंट्रिक, क्रिटिकल रीजनिंग बेस्ड और एब्सोल्युटली रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन बेस्ड, राइट. देयर इज़ अ मिक्स ऑफ टू. ब्रॉडली गाइज, क्लैट में what I can infer from the sample passages or the sample papers, especially in critical reasoning, reading comprehension and legal reasoning, कि वो सब तो ठीक है, बेसिकली ऑथर ने जो कहा है अपने पैसेज में उसे ही तुम्हें क्वेश्चंस में अप्लाई करना है और आंसर देना है. और वो क्वेश्चन पूछने का तरीका कुछ भी हो सकता है, लेकिन बेसिकली तुम्हें एक ही काम करना है, ऑथर ने जो कहा है वो तुम्हें समझ में आया कि नहीं, यही क्वेश्चन सेटर तुम्हें टेस्ट कर रहे हैं थ्रू आउट द क्लैट. ओके, सो दैट इज़ मोर इम्पॉर्टेंट, विच मीन्स रीडिंग न्यूज़ पेपर, रीडिंग द एडिटोरियल्स इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, राइट. आई होप यू आर गेटिंग मी. ये लास्ट क्वेश्चन रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन बेस्ड है, बट एंड द आंसर इज़ बी, राइट. सो आई होप you could have understood this type of passage as well. Let me know your feedback in the comments section, guys, if I need to improve on something or anything, your opinion on these videos. I would be happy to receive your feedback. Okay, so type 2 clear हो गया. type 3 पे चलते हैं, which is case या फिर principle based. so यहाँ पे एक principle based passages हो सकते हैं, दूसरे case based passages हो सकते हैं, right. Principles are explicitly given in a principle based passage and in a case-based passage, a fact situation, a case is presented. Okay, yeah, ये फाइनल स्लाइड पे ही चलते सीधा. Principle based passage में principles are explicitly given and normally a case is given in the questions. Okay, we will look at this type of passage in that word file, and cases are tweaked more often in this kind of passage. And example we will look at this. केस बेस्ड की बात कर लेते हैं. केस बेस्ड में you have a case or a fact situation is presented in the passage, and principles are normally explicitly and sometimes implicitly given as well, and principles are tweaked more often in questions and answers. Basically principles tweak होने पे कैसे आंसर बदलेगा ऑथर क्वेश्चन सेटर ये टेस्ट कर रहा होता है, whereas in principle based question नॉर्मली ऑथर क्वेश्चन सेटर ये टेस्ट कर रहा होता है कि केसेस के जो फैक्ट्स हैं वो अगर थोड़े बहुत इफ़ वी ट्वीक इट हियर एंड देयर व्हाट वुड बी द इम्पैक्ट ऑफ दैट on your answer. Okay, note में I have written that principles can be presented in the form of constitutional articles, sections of statutes, rules, etc. etc. Okay, I hope you are with me. If you are finding this content useful, you might want to press the like button as well. Right, let's move to the passage, which is a mixture of a case which is given and principles are laid out as well. Okay, so the principles are laid out that the law on prevention of cruelty to animals makes it an offense if a person does any of the following. So these four are your principles, right? And there is an exception which is given for experiments. मतलब अगर एनिमल पे क्रुएल्टी हो रही है एक्सपेरिमेंट्स के नाम पे, सो दैट इज़ एन एक्सेप्शन, है ना. एंड हियर इज़ योर केस, राइट, that Amina leaves her puppy with her friend Nisha and requests her to take good care of the pup until she returns from a 10-day business trip that she cannot avoid. Right, and Amina mentions that she would pay Nisha for the food and any other expense. And basically क्या होता है यहाँ पे कि अमीना साथ में डॉग के पपी के साथ में she goes for a walk in a beach. And there some people sort of behave rudely with the puppy, right? That Nisha takes her pup to a beach on a walk without letting Amina know and feeds him a large family pack of ice cream, which means Nisha is treating her with cruelty according to the principles laid down here, right? That she feeds him a large family pack of ice cream. This causes the pup to have a gastrointestinal upset and he starts to growl, attracting the attention of several aggressive stray dogs in the vicinity eager to attack the pup. To punish the pup, Nisha abandons the pup at the beach and takes the rickshaw back to her house. Soon after, the bigger stray dogs surround and attack the pup. A passerby who sees this urges and exhorts the pup to stand up for himself and fight the bigger dogs. The children playing cricket on the beach find this entertaining and line up to watch the fight. Meanwhile, Aaron, who is meditating at the beach, gets disturbed by the commotion created by the dogs and decides to stuff large stones in the mouths of the dogs to prevent them from barking. So, in the mouths of the aggressive dogs. Many of the dogs die of starvation. Okay, Amina has committed. So, a type 1, type 2, type 3 offense या no offense, यही पूछ रहा, राइट. सो यहाँ पे जो है ना यार प्रिंसिपल्स दिए हुए हैं कि टाइप 1 ऑफेंस कौन सा है, टाइप 2 ऑफेंस कौन सा है, टाइप 3 ऑफेंस कौन सा है, एंड टाइप 4 ऑफेंस कौन सा है. सो इन प्रिंसिपल्स को देख के वी नीड टू आइडेंटिफाई कि टाइप 1, टाइप 2 या टाइप 3 इफ ऑफेंस कौन सा है. ओके, राइट नाउ द करेक्ट आंसर इज डी, अमीना तो यार अपना ओनर थी, राइट, दैट लीव्स हर पप विद फॉर अ 10-day business trip to Nisha, who was her friend. Right, Nisha has committed the answer says that Nisha has committed a type 3 offense. Okay, let's read what is type 3 offense. That without reasonable cause abandons, yeah, she does abandon the animal without a reasonable cause, right? कि वो एक तो आपने फैमिली पैक खिला दिया उसे आइसक्रीम का, एंड देन you expect the puppy to behave normally, and when it starts to growl you abandon her. That's not fair, or that's an offense according to this principle, right? So she has committed a type 3 offense. Aaron is charged with the type 3 offense, and he defends the charge by saying that his actions are saved by the experiments exception under the law. Which of the following statements is true in relation to Aaron's actions? So Aaron was that man that stuffs large stones in the mouths of the aggressive dogs, right? So he has also committed an offense that it says that Aaron is guilty since his actions do not constitute an experiment done with the purpose of advancement by new discovery of knowledge, for saving or for prolonging life or alleviating suffering or for combating any disease. So ये जो था ना, even without reading the passage we can infer that this was the principle जिसमें exceptions to experiments, जो exceptions to experiments हैं वो ये होने चाहिए, right? And if we can read it from here, the law makes an exception to the above offenses by stating that it is not unlawful to perform experiments for the purpose of advancement by new discovery of knowledge which will be useful for ये. So basically author ने question setter ने इसे copy किया है और यहाँ पे he has pasted it, right, more or less. The correct answer is C. And 3.4, which of the following if true is a good defense for Nisha's perspective? तो निशा को एक reasonable reason से उस dog को abandon करना था, right? That it answer is A, that it had become dark and the stray dogs at the beach were about to attack Nisha, which is a reasonable reason or reasonable cause to leave that puppy stranded on the beach. Okay. Is the passerby guilty of committing a type 4 offense? Who was the passerby? I think he was trying to exhort the puppy, right? Exhort मतलब उसे encourage करना, to build his confidence, to increase his confidence. Answer is no, that the passerby did not exhort the pup to fight for the sake of entertainment. So you can exhort the animals to fight, but not for the sake of entertainment. That is the learning from this question, right? So broadly guys, जो केस बेस्ड होते हैं या केस एंड प्रिंसिपल का जो मिक्सचर था इस पैसेज में, वी सॉ दैट प्रिंसिपल्स तुम्हें एक्सप्लिसिटली दिए हुए हैं, समटाइम्स प्रिंसिपल इतने एक्सप्लिसिटली नहीं दिए हो सकते हैं. That is why I have written a clause over here, right, that it can be present in the form of constitution articles, sections of statutes, rules. यहाँ पे directly rules दे दिए गए थे, right, कि type 1 offense, type 2 offense, type 3 offense, type 4 offense, and experiments के क्या क्या provisions हैं. These should be your learnings from this video or this lesson, right? So I thank each one of you for staying with me till the very end, and the next video or the next lesson is on the importance of legal knowledge, and I would be happy if you share this playlist with your fellow CLAT aspirants and the document as well, which is linked in the description box. This is Ritik Sinha signing off. I hope you enjoyed this video lesson, and I will see you in the next one. All the best.